scary, we got 3 officers in here. All right, we will call to order the May 17th Accountant Finance Committee meeting at 3:02. We got, is it anything, nothing's changed in here from what you
I
presented
think the
before?
only change may have been where we put the 2 police officers and only put in 6 months of Barb's salary and fully funded the 2 policemen.
Okay,
Okay.
But it's still balanced.
still balance, yeah.
And what was about with the 4%?
That, it still shows 3. That's part of the discussion points tonight.
Where did you find the money, or where did you take the money from to do the changes you've already
It
had?
was already in the position.
Okay,
The 2 positions, we just, I think Jackie was
We
showing
already
in
had-
dispatch.
Yeah, we already had 1 position, 1 new hire for police
Correct.
officer, so I added the 2, but I took out Louise. Louise was in that original
In the
budget.
dispatch line, so it should be
And
in the
we had
general
a full
fund.
year of Barbara's salary, so I just
Gotcha.
cut her salary in half.
Why, is she retiring in December or something?
Right, yes, correct.
Pardon?
She's retiring in December?
If not before, Mr. Miller.
Okay.
It's either October or December, December at the
I
latest.
was wondering, she said she took it out. I was
Yeah.
just wondering,
So
Right.
the only thing we should have that we actually pay for dispatch, Stephanie's salary may still be in the dispatch line,
Yes.
okay? And if you remember, we still pay the county $22,000 a year for dispatch services. And I don't know if you've got that in a separate line, but we do pay the county $22,700, if I'm not mistaken, annually. In fact, I think it was on the bill list this past month, the meeting we just did.
Any luck with hiring anybody?
Sam and Tony have done 1 round of interviews. They have found some good candidates, and I think they have 2 more to interview, 4 more. So, our goal is to find 2 candidates to employ in the future, and our goal is also to target the September Police Academy. This year's a little different.
I was about to say, I thought it was normally July.
It is. This year they decided to do 3 classes in 1 year.
Okay.
So it's, the next class is in June, which we won't be able to make. And the following one will be September. That's our target goal.
The target is to put the 2 in at September, so they can find the 2
Okay.
candidates.
I got a question. Tony, did y'all get an officer from Victoria to come over here and put in for a job?
We did.
I know he had said he had,
Now, does it cause problems? I know this is really police and employment. Does it cause problems if you wait until September with said officer or said candidate? Just tell them, hey, you gotta wait until September though.
Well, I think what,
I'm asking because if it's 1 month, I mean, I don't know, is something that if we could work around it up here.
We advertised in anticipation of a July academy or June academy.
we actually
What was
planned
you
it to be in July.
I was saying if the academy really starts in June and they have a candidate, which they may not have
Right.
one then.
Okay.
Then why not go ahead
Right.
in June instead of,
I think we talked as a short turnaround for us to do a background
okay,
check.
I understand.
And the employee to give a 2-week notice.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was making sure we weren't being the holdup on our end, saying that you have to wait until September or when budget money comes around.
No, it's not on our end.
Okay.
That's
All right.
I just want to make this, and so all these other things we were talking about, code enforcement officer and all that, that's not in this
The
budget,
code
right?
enforcement officer, I think there is a stipend for animal control. There is a stipend,
Okay.
$2 an hour,
Okay. Well, what about
do you
this?
remember?
No building inspector either, right? Huh? No building inspector either. Okay.
I read it today, I thought it was.
What?
$2 is what's included here, $2.75 an hour for Jason Robinson for
Okay.
animal control.
Okay.
For additional, he's like,
Right, we'll talk about those too.
And while we're on the police department, we were talking about getting night corporals. Is that under as a merit or what?
I think if you look at the same document that Jackie was pointing out to me a little while ago,
Yeah.
there's $1.65 for Shane and $1.50 for another gentleman.
One of them.
Yes, we still had.
I'm not sure if that's in the budget yet.
Is that why
It's not.
you're under their $1.50? Oh, that's not in the budget yet.
no.
Okay.
It's not in the budget yet,
I
that's,
didn't include anything unless it was signed off on this current fiscal year for FY '24.
Gotcha,
I didn't put
okay.
anything in the budget until y'all agreed to it.
and that's the
raises
purpose of
and
the closed session tonight to talk about salary and
I've been trying to find page 1 of 3 and it's the wrong page.
Look,
All right, can we start up at the top, administration? And I always like to get explanations of said merit raises. So, like Jennifer, we have $1.85. Is that for completing a certain course?
No, that's a request she made to me. It's not for completing a course, and it is not in the budget. Purpose of today is to discuss any of these additional.
Well, that's what I wanted to go down.
That is not in the budget, but the request, on individual salary requests, I'd like to do that in closed session.
Okay, that's fine.
But we can talk about 3%, 4% as a matter of policy, across the board stuff in open session if you'd like.
Okay.
You in closed session today?
You wanna do that now, or you wanna wait?
No, you can go ahead, go
Go
start talking about the 4% if we
yeah,
need to.
whatever.
Obviously, I looked at y'all's documents, it says if we go from 3 to 4%, it's an
That's
increase,
$100,000.
$106,000.
With benefits.
Where do you see that coming from?
Well, I've got two places. One, I can.
Not, it's nothing to flinch at.
$100,000, you buy it every year though. I mean, it's
Oh, absolutely.
perpetual $100,000. Now, here's the deal. If you look at our lodging tax, I think I budgeted 75, and I think that's gonna be under budgeted in lodging tax, okay? Budgeted 75, but we're already exceeding that now that the inn is doing its thing. So I think there's some room there, and I also think, and I caution you a bit in that our meals tax is under budgeted too. I put 700 if I'm not mistaken, and I think probably 750, 745 is probably a more accurate number. But I'm leery on meals tax just because it's so economy based.
Under budgeting's been your style of writing the budget.
If it's 300, do 260, 275 or something like that.
That's
That
it.
way if you have a boo-boo, then you're not in nearly as deep trouble. But those two items are still probably under revenue. Last year, I increased the real estate tax, which is a smaller figure. It's only $375,000 out of the total for town. But that's a little closer now. I think I've got 375 in there now. But meals and lodging, I believe, are still under revenue because there's still a little bit of flux. And I learned in 2020, that meals tax is very susceptible to that pandemic. Now, that was maybe a little different than what may happen this coming year because the restaurants were in such bad shape. But I can tell you, when McDonald's renovated for a month this spring, we knew it. We could see it, you know. So meals tax is probably something I'm a little less confident. I know we're going to get the real estate tax. I know we're going to get the personal property tax. And that meals tax really fluctuated in 2020. If you remember, we actually refinanced a bond debt to avoid having to make a payment.
Philip, I got a question. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Billy.
You know, has there been anything, or have you heard anything from the General Assembly about what they're gonna do with these machines, if they're gonna tax or what?
I have not. I think it's in court, and Chief may know as much as I do, but I think it's tied up in court and litigation. And
You know what? That's a shame, because if I win $3,000, I don't have to pay you nothing. I put the whole $3,000
they're not
in
paying
my
any
pocket.
taxes now,
Right.
and I think we had $4,000 or $5,000 saved up, and we used part of it to pay that stormwater project you asked me
I'm
about.
gonna try to find out something about that.
Yeah. I don't know the answer, but I think it's in court now.
I was gonna ask something about
Question?
I've a little bit of angst when we come to say that we're gonna take our lodging tax, which is a new revenue stream for us, and put to something that is a yearly deal. Because I look at that lodging tax could be some of our play money that we go, all right, well, this is what we do our playgrounds with, or this is what we do our South Main Street project with sidewalks.
We talked about before, part of that lodging tax was going towards the fire truck, if I'm not mistaken. I know we've discussed it.
Part of lodging tracks, yep, to help pay for the fire truck payment. Now, we paid off a bunch of debts for the mini excavator, skid steer, paid off a police car, I think, last year, in part setting the table for that, but you're gonna have a $5,000 a month payment on that sucker.
Eric, you said,
unmanageable,
you just said something. Eric, I don't think that we should even think about no playground right now for what's going on. I think that should be carried out later on down the thing. I don't even think we should appropriate anything for the playgrounds due to the situation that's going on now with Taylor Bottom.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think what he's saying is that in the past when we discussed that lodging tax, it was more of the capital, if we wanna do one-time capital projects or stuff like that, that's kinda what that had always been discussed using.
We really hadn't expected as much lodging tax, and we expected, once we understood lodging tax more, who had to pay and who didn't, I thought it'd be higher. But a lot of people are exempt because they stay more than 30 days, or, you know, their bookings are through the agency with the federal government. Really, the only new facility that's paying appreciable lodging tax is the inn, and they're doing great numbers for us.
Okay, so when Steps brings their people in, you don't get lodging tax for that? You know, like this motel up here now is full of Steps people. Do you?
just pay, yes.
But it's just so, that's so minuscule.
But it's small in comparison to the.
Yeah, I understand
Just
that.
a number
Yeah.
of rooms. I think there's 32 or 35 rooms at the Wedgewood, where there's 113 rooms up
Yeah,
there.
I understand that. I was just wondering, you know.
They do pay, yes.
Yeah,
And
because
then,
they keep it full now.
and as a result of Christine Hasbrook inquiring, we polished up on Expedia and
Airbnb.
Airbnbs and all that. It's still not a huge amount, but we are collecting from Expedia and Airbnb and places like that.
I just look, and trust me, I know employees are out here, and you include Philip. I look at this from a private sector, because that's what I've grown up in and currently in and will remain in. I would much rather see every person on here getting a merit raise because they earned it and showed that they wanted to keep it than a cost of living raise.
Okay.
I know that I'm of the few, and that's not gonna happen this year, I understand that, but for every year that I've always said, you shouldn't just give raises to someone who's just gonna freeload off of. I mean, you can have a deadbeat in town hall down here, and they just sit back and ride the wave, or we can have an officer that just does their thing, but guess what? We're guaranteed we're gonna get 3-5% each year. And I
Yeah, we
know
can break
cost of
that
living
down.
goes up.
But if
I
you
can
do
tell
the
you what, in
MERD
private
rate-
sector,
And we
was
do
at-
evaluation. We
But if you
do
do the MERD
evaluations on
raise, see,
everybody.
you're gonna have evaluations.
Oh, yeah.
We do evaluations.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so,
I love to see people get up and love to come to work. And I know sometimes in town hall that can be more difficult, I'm sure, especially getting Philip. But,
You could have said the PD.
or the king, I've heard a lot. But,
Oh, God.
I just like to see that drive. And I feel like when you give away certain amounts, that drive is diminished some, is all I'm saying.
Got it.
well, Eric, why don't we, since you brought this up, since we we're gonna strive to do this next year. I'm serious, guy. I see your point too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because if you giving me 3%, I know I'm gonna get it.
You know you're gonna get it.
But if I come to work every day, you still getting the same thing I get. I got what you're saying, but we need to do this. That should be our number one priority next year. I'm serious.
Yeah,
Because it makes sense.
I mean, and for me being in private sector too, if I go into any employee review I've ever
And we
been
ain't
in,
talking about the private sector. 'Cause
I
see,
go, well, we're competing with the private sector.
Right, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
So whenever I go into review, I don't know if I'm gonna get 5%. I have no idea. I could get nothing. I could get 10%, depending on how I perform that year.
Well, like I said, I don't disagree with y'all on that. I don't. And that's what we should strive for next year.
This is 3% in your budget. There was some discussion about more money for garbage men and certain other things, and I think looking at it, the problem with just doing garbage men,
Right, then
an
I
hour,
said the
$1
same
an
thing.
hour, $2, man, you've got ladies that work at
I
DMV.
said the same
That'd be
thing.
$2 behind the garbage man, and so the 4% was discussed with Mr. Miller and the mayor and I, because in part, we don't wanna have to, because I think you're gonna spend a lot more money moving everybody up $1. Because you're gonna have all the long phase, man, a garbage man making $3 more than I am, and I'm at the DMV, and so none of that. 4% is what, if you remember, the bus system submitted. So anything more than 4% is totally 100% on the town. So
Right.
she submitted 4. She can go down, but she can't go up unless you guys are willing to. And that's where the 4% figure came from, as opposed to giving 5 people $1 an hour, and then next thing you know, we've got 10 more that are getting $1 an hour. It's an arms race, and
When you say those salaries, I just want to clear this up. You're saying that if you work at the bus shop, they pay so much, and roughly how much do we pay? Okay, just say like if I'm making I'm at the bus shop, I'm making $25 an hour. How much would you
and
pay?
you're one of the administrative people.
Right.
I think it's a 75-25 split,
Just with Mary. Christie's salary and Megan's is 50/50.
50-50, okay.
Okay.
Those are the split, 75-25 for Mary, 50-50 for the other two.
Okay.
And that's just those girls, like the garage guys.
Mhm.
But we do get reimbursed for work orders that are done on buses. The bus system will reimburse our time and labor and materials and parts for, the mechanics who work on the bus system.
You said above what?
We did above 25,
What you mean?
3, below 25, 4. Is that even doable?
What is that?
I understand, when we originally talked about this, your main push for a higher percent than what we originally advertised was because as somebody on the lower end of the
Right.
bracket, that, you know.
That's why and see, that's why the employees and employment say go to 4%. Because if you were making, I think it's, what was it, was somebody in here making $12 an hour. So if you gave them 3%, they would only get,
39 cents?
79 cents. And they wasn't gonna go for that.
Well, Jake,
So we talked about, I don't know, and I don't wanna get too far out of the box and creativity, but could we split it by the salary range?
yeah,
What
say
you mean?
if someone makes 35,000, anything under 35 is a certain amount, and then anything would be the 3 or 4%
And then anything above whatever the number we decided would be the 3.
You don't think it'll be some trouble behind that?
Anything we do is gonna be trouble.
I mean, but do you think they're gonna holler, you
mean,
think they're gonna holler
it's
discriminatory or what?
It's not-
I mean, I don't have a problem with
I
it.
mean, we're trying.
But how could you do it, you know, and it not be no stuff behind it?
Oh, there's always gonna be stuff behind
But,
it. No matter if it's 3 or 4, there's gonna be stuff behind it.
I'll make
okay,
resumes for that.
okay. Have you got Carolyn one?
No, I've got hers made.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry.
I can put it in
just
the
think
mailbox
about
if you want.
35.
I
Oh,
don't know what it is.
yeah, okay,
Who's the third person?
yeah.
Because
Go on,
at the end
Miss.
of the day, I mean, if you think about, if we're trying to get a cost of living raise, somebody on the upper side of the tax bracket,
I mean, Philip, we use him for example. He didn't care. I mean, you're talking about a $2.40 an hour increase if you do the 4%. When if you use a garbage guy or anybody with a lower salary, I don't want to just say garbage. You're talking about 53 cents.
But we have given all the garbage men, anybody that works for the town,
Incentives.
$1.50 an hour path forward.
Correct. Agreed.
Get a driver's license.
Right,
Teaching them classes
right.
on our time, or paying them to go to classes. Get a driver's license. You're so much more valuable when you got a driver's
While you're out, Jake mentioned, is it possible to those that make under 35 a year get 4%, and anybody above that get the 3%?
Can we do that? I mean, it's legal, I
I
mean,
mean, it's not gonna make that big of a difference when it comes to.
okay, like I said, I ain't in here to argue now,
I
I
don't wanna
just,
think too far outside of the
But-
box and make it complicated, but.
so, okay, you saying like,
Do they know of their path forwards? I mean, paths.
Looking at
Is anybody taking it?
$13 salary. That's a
Anybody taking it?
15%, 4% increase in salary, but they haven't been taking the test.
Have they?
No, but we do a virtual training class for them twice a week. But and that goes for the guys that cut grass, everything.
Anybody really?
hey Philip, what do you have your drivers listed?
As far as the raise,
No, I'm talking about as far as the garbage.
Oh, garbage.
It was under the
is
sanitary.
Mr. Dolan in there?
Yeah.
Mm,
And he's a new guy. And he's,
He's the bottom, Thomas Cole.
yeah, okay,
There's
okay.
another sheet, Mr. Miller,
Mm-hmm,
the last 2 sheets, and that'll show you, it'll say like CDL sanitation driver,
okay,
and that'll tell you who the drivers are.
okay,
Don Gordon, Thomas Dolan.
right.
the CDL guys, we started at 16.
Minimum, absolutely.
We started at 16.
Okay.
And then we've got garbage men that'll be making over 16 if you do this hour dollar. So therein lies the problem. You got guys on the back of the truck making more than the driver. Because you got this commercial driver's license, and that's when you get into, well, I gotta bump that up, and I gotta bump that up, and I gotta bump that up. That becomes the issue. But we don't have any garbage men that make $12 an hour. I think there was some discussion and conversation about that. There's none of them
Let me see.
over that, and I think there's a minimum wage in January 2024 that'll be 13%. With this raise, you may not have to do anything, but there will be one employee that will be under 13 if there was no raise.
And who's that? Who would that be?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what it says.
Who?
On the garbage truck,
Lewis
I think it's four. There's one employee that's 1281.
Yeah, Elroy.
Yeah.
I don't know who.
Yeah, he's at 12:48.
I'd be in favor of
And that
trying
doesn't,
to split.
that doesn't factor in insurance benefits either.
I mean, you know, I can take it to the police and employment committee and pass it on to them and bring it back to you.
Time is drawing near to get a budget done, so.
So what's that, so, I mean, if I had to guess, that's gonna put the total cost of the budget increase around 25%?
The what?
25% of that?
Benefits?
100,000?
It'd probably be less.
Benefits, about 35%.
No, when we were talking about that was it $106,000 for the, going from a 3 to a 4?
It would be about $38,000. 35%, plus a little, about 38 grand of that amount is benefit.
Oh, benefits. But I'm saying if
Health insurance.
we did the split, if we split it by salary range, by a salary line.
Oh, you're saying like the under
Oh,
35?
Yeah, I would
or-
think it would
Okay.
be 25% of that 100,000.
Probably be less than that.
So while we could take care of the garbage bin like you're saying, we wouldn't be busting our budget.
But Jack, you can't, you know, my thing is this, we just can't say we're gonna take care of the garbage man, like
Or
Philip said.
not take care of the garbage, take care of the people that are more affected by the cost of living increase. Let me put it that way.
The lower payment.
Those under.
Yeah, okay, I don't have,
Yeah,
I
we're not
I
just
don't,
saying garbage, but
yeah,
that's
I don't-
obviously where most of it is.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that, like, you ain't get no argument with me, but as I look through here, there's not that many people that's under 30, what is 35?
We just
It's a
threw out
decent
range of
amount. We've got
35.
several of them over
Okay.
here that are under. I mean, it's more than you think.
So if you do the 35, they be getting $1 an hour, right? Is that what you're saying?
No, they'll be getting 4% instead of the 3.
It would be, the 4% instead of the 3%.
And what about the murder you got here?
I hadn't paid attention to that.
Look at the murder now.
What's the merit for?
You got Jennifer Daniel, $1.85 merit.
We're gonna go
These are
over
requests,
those.
we're gonna go over those in closed.
Okay. And Philip, if these guys that we anticipating retiring, wouldn't that,
they're gonna be able to retire,
well, if they do,
if they do.
wouldn't that help us too? Cause that'd be
You probably
salaries.
replace some guys with less or lower paid folks, but Wallace, for example, I don't know his exact salary, but, you're not gonna replace Wallace with a entry-level person, not with the knowledge that he has.
He's
on
24.
ability to operate equipment, all that sort of thing.
Wallace is
I don't know if
24.
there's a huge
It's
amount,
24.72.
There'd be 21 roughly that are
What?
under that 35 range.
Out of 60 full-timers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So I'm gathering the goal is to get everybody to 35 at least. That
Well, I
what we're
mean,
saying.
it's obviously to help those that are under that
That's what I'm saying. But
that
we're going for
threshold.
yeah. Okay.
to the 4% instead of the 3%.
Where, if y'all did something like that, where would y'all like to see like part-time bus drivers fall in? Would y'all want to see them get a 4, or would y'all want to see them get the 3?
Yeah, I didn't count those in that number just because I
I
would.
almost consider the bus.
Does that entail us to make that decision or what?
I think you keep those at what they're at personally. I mean,
I mean, we can't go above the 4 with them, cause that's what Mary's
they're
got
part-time and
approved.
getting 27 already.
What they are?
And so they're at $17 an hour almost, a lot of them. So I think that's a,
They're close to 35 already,
yeah,
if they were full-time.
if they were full-time, they'd be over that, yeah. I'd say I personally would say that's an exemption
Okay.
for a part-time.
McFarland.
Philip, what else do you need us to,
I don't think there's much pizzazz here. I will tell you a capital project, we may have talked a little bit before. You got the armory in there, that's a major project. You get a new ladder truck that's been ordered. There's a new bucket truck that's been ordered. And we're rolling cash from one year into the next. And You are taking on $520,000 of debt for the ladder truck. The payments will start at some point next year, I assume in the fall. Delivery was September, October, last time I talked to Dion. So there'll be payments. I think we got 6 months of payments in there. The town's debt increased by $520,000 to pay for that truck. I think it's a 10-year deal. And we're using $270,000 of cash on hand. 200 from the county and 70 would be the apparatus money from the county last year that we saved. We have some water tank renovation projects in there. I think we got $180,000 for renovation of water tanks. Dan's got some regulators ordered, things like that. But nearly all, if not all, the vehicles, except for some police cars that we're talking about doing with some of that ARPA money. But the ladder truck, the bucket truck, 2 pickup trucks for the town, the pickup truck for the police department, those aren't in there because either we're expecting that to happen this year, we have to do an appropriation if the daggone thing shows up after July. But really, the only vehicles we're talking about would be 2 police cars? 3 police cars, not including the truck.
Correct.
3 police cars, not including the truck for the 2 new guys and then replace one.
Have we ordered any police cars?
Tell us about police cars. Availability, if you don't mind.
Well, that's something we scheduled to meet with Phil today, but haven't had a chance to get together with him yet. As you mentioned, the pickup truck has already been ordered, hasn't been built, but that's kind of behind us. It's already in this budget year, and that's kind of pending. We can't order any Explorers. Order bank doesn't open until July or August. There are some hybrid Explorers that are available. That wasn't well received by our town maintenance staff. Prefer not to see those. We're talking with a dealer about Dodge Durangos that are available. Not on site, but should be within a month or 2. So nothing immediate unless we went in the direction of a hybrid, which I don't see us going.
We got some talking to do, but there's 3 police cars anticipated in next fiscal year.
Unless there's extra incentives for hybrids, I don't see that as an option yet.
Unless we get the oldest police, the people that been here the longest, we get in the hybrids and get arrested.
Get the chief to hire him. Give that to that guy. That's really our big catalyst of the armory. If you're wondering, we got some about $400,000 in paving project between secondary and primary streets. And we'll figure out where we break that down. But we did a lot of paving this year, a lot of paving over last summer and this year over at East End. We're gonna finish up over there. I think Main Street down near the shopping center probably needs a little attention, a little bit more on North Main. And Northwest Avenue is getting a little scratchy in spots.
But yeah, and you didn't budget any money for this parking lot you was talking about out here, right?
Anything in there for that parking lot.
Okay.
And I don't have anything in there for the South Main curb and gutter and sidewalk. I do know that's looming at some point, and I will continue to, as money becomes available, if we've got some cash, set it aside. All right? Because I know that's gonna be coming. Now, it's 3 years in the future, or 2 years in the future, whatever it is, but we'll have our ducks in a row. But I did have somebody tell me that they saw a lot of Fast C folks walking the food line the other day. And
Yeah.
Lots of them all the time.
we do have a bus system, so everybody knows, but it doesn't run on Sunday nights. And I think it was a Sunday night when somebody said that there was a lot of folks walking. Maybe we need to start running on Sunday night.
You don't run a Sunday all anyway, do you?
We don't run Sundays. I think it's Monday through Thursday.
Right.
Through Friday. Monday through Friday. We're not doing the weekends, but if we need to start doing the weekends, and if that's going to improve service, then small price to pay.
One thing about it, you get the National Guard in here in the summertime. If they had a bus, they might could come downtown. They really don't stay in port that long. Most of the time they in the field, but
This
What-
bus that we're running
Mhm.
is not it's a town bus,
mhm.
and we're going from facilities where people are staying, and they call and say, hey, we need you
Right, right.
at 3 o'clock, and boop, and
Mhm.
6 o'clock or whatever, and take them downtown. And I think they go to Mitchell's and they go to shopping center.
And it might work on Sunday because some people might want to go to church. You know, it might.
All right.
You do have 96,000 in there for ditches, I guess, too.
96.95.
I'm glad we won't have that on the budget next year.
If it's in there 1 year, I can promise you it'll be there
No,
next
no,
year.
sir, it's a 2-year moratorium, no, sir, buddy,
There's 90 plus $1,000 in debt.
But Philip, now you said that if Jake has a project at his house, if Jake pays for this project, you know, how we got it set up. So you're saying that the town still does that?
If it's on private property,
Yes, that's
council's
what,
gotta vote on it.
yeah, but I'm still saying, in other words, they paying for all this, everything.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a payment situation, so you're still gonna have to, say it's a $100,000 project.
Right.
You're still gonna have to spend $100,000, cause they ain't gonna pay $100,000 right up front,
Right,
so they're gonna make, at best, payments back. on it.
right, that's what I was saying.
Or council waive the payment. So you're still gonna have an expense of X number of dollars to do the work.
Right, okay. I
You
wanted
may
to
get some
clarify that.
payments, but you're not gonna get it all paid back in a year. I can't-
Right, right. I don't know though, cause I think Lorenzo and them paid theirs back, and I think you set them up. I think it was $50 a month or something. I think they
Pretty,
or $50,
Pretty
$100 or
manageable,
something.
but,
They
you
paid
get
it.
cash out there, I mean,
Yeah.
you put a lot of money out. Anything bother you? Spook you? Scare you?
$96,000. A lot of money.
I've got a baseball game at 4 o'clock, if you don't mind. Can we go into closed session to discuss personnel matters? And the specific is, mayor request that certain employees have made.
All right, is there a certain code section or anything we need to read, or just?
I'm not the clerk.
All right, we're gonna, do we have a motion to go into closed session?
So move.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.